Dutton Ranch episode 3. Beth is getting ready to go to Dallas for a meeting, and Carter's eating breakfast, and she's sensing that Carter doesn't really want to go to school, and she's telling him it'll be okay, basically. And also, she didn't like his shirt, so she told him to change his shirt. But I like their little dynamic, their little mother-son dynamic, even though Beth told him she's not his mom when he was little. I wonder if they've had that conversation again. But anyway, then they show Beulah at the former sheriff's funeral, speaking. Outside the funeral, her and Everett, they start talking, and then we realize that they were probably a little more than just acquaintances at one point. Beth goes to the butcher to get her ribeyes, so he packs them up for her. Back to the funeral, the current sheriff and Beulah are speaking, and she's basically telling him. I mean, of course, she had the other sheriff in her pocket, so he's in her pocket too, I guess. And she was asking him why he didn't tell her about what happened with Oriana at the rodeo. And he was just like, it wasn't that big of a deal. And she was letting him know that he needs to tell her, inform her of everything. And she was pretty, she didn't mince any words. So she basically was telling him to fall in line. So Carter didn't go to school because Oriana called him. She was upset about her boyfriend. And she was saying she put a tracker on him and she knows where he is with some girl. And Carter was right. He was like, why are you dating somebody that you hate so much? And she's like, are you going to save me? She's just so much trouble. Back at the Dutton Ranch, there's a problem. There's a sick cow, sick cattle. So Rip has to put her down, or put it down. So Beth shows up at this restaurant, this high-end restaurant, as you can tell, and she sees this meeting between this guy and the staff. And this girl right here, I don't know, I feel like there's more to what's happening with her, the way they kind of zeroed in on her, but she's a chef. Beth gets back in the kitchen somehow, and she asks her, because the conversation before was with the guy saying something about tips, and so this girl was pissed because he had a problem with the way maybe they divided the tips. I don't know, but anyway, Beth says she'll pay her, she'll make up the difference or something, or pay $1,500 if she cooks a ribeye for her. So the girl says yes. Again, I feel like maybe this is just her only role, but I feel like we'll see her again for some reason. So she agrees to cook the ribeye. Rip calls the vet. He calls Everett, and Everett comes out and tells him, yeah, this is foot and mouth disease, which is really bad because it could spread to other cattle. And he said they were talking about how it hasn't been around in a while, and the Everett was like, these, with all the anti-vaxxers and all this stuff, a lot of these diseases are coming around again, and they're talking about how did this happen. So Rip thinks it's the new bull that they got at the auction, possibly. So Beth sits down with that guy, the owner or whoever he is, with the ribeye because she wants to get them to buy their meat. So they have a talk. He eats the ribeye. And then the next scene is Oriana and Carter gets up and he pisses on the guy's truck, and she busts out the windows. And then the guy comes running out holding a gun, just holding the gun, so you know he's not shooting the way he's holding it. But he runs out in his boxers, which, okay, because they were messing up his car. But the girl comes running out in her underwear, and she didn't need to come outside, and she's standing there in her underwear. I don't know. Sometimes Taylor Sheridan, the way he writes for women, aside from Lioness, I don't know. He likes to write for bimbo, the bimbo look or whatever. Beulah gets a call, and it's from her. I'm thinking it's from her husband. I wonder who's going to play him. And I'm not sure either, like what type of relationship they have. If they, I mean, I'm guessing they're divorced, but they haven't really said a lot about her husband just yet. But he does mention the ranch and how, oh, we have a new ranch hand, and I don't think he said ranch hand, but anyway, and she was just saying, don't basically stay out of the ranch business. It's you know. And then we finally find out what Zachariah did to get put in prison, because this lady shows up at Dutton Ranch and she is pissed and she's holding a gun to him, and he like gets on his knees. Rip stands in the middle of them and he asks the lady what Zachariah did. So apparently he was drunk and he got into, or he was a drunk, and he was getting into an argument and backed out of his driveway and killed his girlfriend. I don't think they were married, but his girlfriend that they were in love with, he was in love with her, and he ran her over and killed her. So this is her mom. Back to Beth wheeling and dealing with this guy, and she gets what she wants, as Beth always does. He seems to like her. He told her he was going to make a few phone calls for her too, so Beth is back in business. Carter and Oriana get pulled over by the sheriff, and the sheriff says to her, I'm kind of up to here with you. And I don't know, we need to find out the backstory with Oriana pretty quickly here, because her behavior, if she's just a spoiled brat, then okay. But she's so angry, and like she tells the sheriff, he lets them off. The way she talks to him, but then he lets them off, and then she calls him an asshole or something. So I don't know what the deal is there. It seems like there's more, because it just, now what they're showing us is her being angry for like no reason. Beulah shows up at the girl, I can't remember, Whitney, at Whitney's house, the girl whose husband was killed in the beginning, and she sees that she's gone. Like, she was going to talk to her, but I'm sure she was going to threaten her because the money didn't work. So I know that's what she was going to do, and she realizes she's gone, and she's worried. The guys are all camped out because they have to watch the cattle, and they discuss what the details of Zachariah's his crime. So Joaquin sits down next to Beth, and at first I didn't even realize it was him because she was in a barn. I was hoping they weren't going to do that thing that they did on Yellowstone, because it was kind of played out, like when she sizes a guy up, which was entertaining then. Was entertaining the first time, but and maybe the second, but when she did it the third time, it was kind of played out. So I was hoping they didn't do that, and they didn't. So Joaquin was talking to her, and he told her where he was from, and she was like, "Are you following me?" And he was like, "No," but she wasn't having it. And then he tells her it's friendly competition. She said there's no such thing. And so when she did get up, he told her, he said, "Yeah, my mom mentioned you, and she spoke, or she's something about a good impression." And so Beth was like, "That's good to know." But we also find out that Joaquin is not Beulah's biological son, that she raised him. Oh, but the one thing was funny when he was talking to her. She said, "You remind me of my dad's my dad's attorney," which is Jamie, right? That was kind of funny. Ariana is at Carter's room, getting him ready to do things. Beth's happy she's driving home, and Rip calls her and she told her she got the deal, and Rip said, "Come home," and she was like, "Is everything okay?" He said, "Yes," and she's like, "Don't lie to me." But I'm like, man, if you're gonna tell me, you need to tell me what's going on right now. Don't leave me hanging. More sickness, and Beth pulls up. She sees the cattle, and she knows this is bad. And right after if all their cattle get sick and they can't produce their meat, she knows it's bad. So we'll see what happens.